I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts!
Hey, what's up, pups? Welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. It's a podcast that takes a look at what's happening in the old pop culture realm. Just another guy who gives his 2 cents of what he thinks should be done to help bring that nostalgic feeling back to what we remember, back in the 80s, or at least for me, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, that sort of thing. We look at what's good, what's bad, what's ugly. Sometimes if I can see it, point out some of the spiritual elements, some scripture stuff to you. Just try to incorporate my own studying on that. But yeah, we do a show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Central Time. That would be 9 Eastern Time. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do game streaming. And then we also do game streaming over the weekend as well. So I appreciate anybody who decides to take the time to come hang out with me. Humbled, blessed. And if you want to help support the channel, just make sure to hit that subscribe button and punch that thumbs up. And then ring that bell to get notified when I go live if you want to catch more shows or game streaming. But yes, it is Monday. It is one day away from election, and then the garbage will be over. Hopefully, hopefully the good Lord will steer us in the right path. Well, I shouldn't say hopefully. He will steer us in the right path. With that being said, prayers that the right people get put involved. I just saw that Harris is like, we can beat Trump without Pennsylvania. No, you can't. Well, just got to have faith and pray that everything turns out fine. Hope you guys already voted. I know I did early here in Texas. Got that out of the way as quick as possible. And so, with that being said, Wednesday, we will have a guest on the show. And that will be, let me see, let's see. I usually don't like to announce it until like the day before, but we do have a guest booked from the people I've been reaching out. So I'm super excited to hear about that. I usually, again, when it comes with guests, I always want to give them plenty of time that in case if they need to change stuff last minute, I'm not announcing to people way ahead in advance only to have, disappointment if people were looking forward to it and then, doesn't work out. Not like we can't reschedule, but still. With that being said, we've got quite a chunk of articles here ready to go. Got a good spread of news, ranging from Dragon Age: The Veilguard, Assassin's Creed Shadows, some Star Wars Outlaws, and then some interesting stuff like Alien Romulus. I guess Ridley Scott is developing a new Alien movie, supposedly after the success of Romulus. I heard it wasn't all that good. Oops, and then I forgot to, oh my goodness gracious. Always try to, end on a more uplifting note at the end. Let's see, just take a gander at what games were released throughout the years on the day of, Can't forget that, so slap that on there real quick. Usually get it from GameFAQs and Moby Games. They have a good chunk. All right, so with that being said, let us hop in. Wabam. Switching on over. Okay. So, yeah, Ridley Scott apparently is developing a new Alien movie after Alien Romulus' success. Wouldn't there be an apostrophe there? Well, I guess that's actually probably the title. Goes to show how much I keep up. Yeah, I thought it actually didn't do that well, or if not, it was mediocre at best. I mean, I didn't see it. I mean, I have no interest really in the... I'm aware enough of the Alien franchise, but never really sat down and like fully watched them all. But then again, you just would need to watch probably 1 and 2 and probably be satisfied. But he has revealed he's working on a new Alien movie from 20th Century Studios, thanks in part to their successful Alien Romulus film, according to this article from Niche Gamer. So while Ridley Scott hasn't directed an Alien film since 2017's Alien Covenant, and didn't that flop, the new mid-sequel with Alien Romulus from this year was a success and reinvigorated the franchise both for newcomer fans and returning veterans. So just banking on an already established franchise and hoping that it doesn't get bled to death. So news of yet another Alien film coming from its creator Scott comes from a lengthy interview with Hollywood Reporter, where the octogenarian director... Oh my gosh. It's either octogenarian or octogenarian. Now I'm curious. It's time for me to learn a new word.
Octogenarian.
Oh, I wasn't even close.
Octogenarian.
They pronounce the G with a J. Octogenarian.
Octogenarian. Octogenarian.
Octogenarian. Oh, you guys could probably hear that. I mean, that's fine. You guys are learning with me together. Octogenarian. Gosh, I mean, my name... I guess there's an R in the middle, but there's an EG. It's not like it's Dredge, you know. Casually revealed the new film. No other details on the film were shared, unfortunately. Oh, so he just made a quip about he's working on something. In another previous interview on the Alien series by THR, it was teased that this new film may be a direct sequel to Alien Romulus, though the original was directed by Fede Alvarez. At that time, 20th Century Studios was in negotiation with Alvarez to direct. Once again, we're working on a sequel idea now. A 20th Century Fox executive, Steve Asbell, or Asbell, said in the previous interview, dude, if it's Asbell, that sucks for that guy. We haven't quite closed our deal with Fede, but we're going to, or Fede, and he has an idea that we're working on. He added the 2 survivors, I guess spoiler, Rain and Andy, played by Callie Spaney and David Johnson, were real highlights of the film. And so I always think of it like, wow, where do people want to see them go next? Well, the real question is, did you even ask if the people like even wanted another Alien movie? We know there's going to be aliens. We know there's going to be great horror set pieces, but I fell in love with both of them, and I want to see what their story is. The Alien franchise started back in 1979 with the eponymous film conceived and directed by Scott. It got 3 sequels: 1986 Aliens by James Cameron, 1992's Alien 3 by David Fincher, and 1997's Alien Resurrection by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Alien Romulus is a mid-sequel between the original 2 films. A new television series titled Alien Earth is set to release sometime in 2025 via FX on Hulu in the United States and via Disney Plus internationally. A joint production between 20th Television, and Scott Free Productions. And then Romulus premiered in theaters back in 2024 of August and is now available on discs and streaming. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, I sure as heck didn't hear a buzz about Alien Romulus. I know some people talked about it, but other than that, I feel like I just like the fact that they're like, it was a success. And it's like, has it gotten to the point where like mediocre crap is now considered success because we have been given so much garbage? I have a sneaking suspicion. that's likely the case. Silent Hill 2. Apparently someone has discovered a hidden message Blooper Team thought was too hard to find. So there's apparently a 26-part photo puzzle inside of the game. This comes from a Video Game Chronicle. And apparently the creative director thought it was too hard. So let's see what this says. And it contains spoilers. So hidden throughout the game are 26 Polaroid-like photos, which have a number on one side and a photo with a message on the other. Players have been confused by the photos and been trying to figure out how they fit in the lore. So Reddit user Dale Robinson finally managed to figure out the meaning behind the photos, sharing their findings on the Silent Hill Reddit page. So each photo shows a number of objects: a building with 6 open windows, a door with 3 reflected edges, a church entrance with 7 birds flying across, and so on. The player realized that by taking each number and counting that many letters in the message on each photo, they could eventually spell a message. For example, the photo marked number 23 shows a floor with 8 bloody footprints on it. In the message, "Old man's always prepared," the 8th letter in that message is A. By putting all the letters in numerical order, the player came up with the hidden message: "You've been here for 2 decades." So the message appears to be a reference to the fact that the game is a remake, but players are already starting to theorize that the remake is part of a time loop in which James keeps revisiting Silent Hill over and over, which would also explain why the character design originally looked older before Bloober Team changed it due to fan backlash. That, oh my gosh. This is already dumb. This is already stupid. But I will gladly accept the theory of a time loop because, yes, because in time loops, it's very possible that each time loop is slightly different. So then we can make the argument that this remake is not the official one, but the OG original one is good because there's fat chicks in it that shouldn't be there. Let me be more specific. There were feminine figures that got male enhanced, in other words. You know, whether that's fatness, not having feminine form, but, you know, you're more male neutral sort of look, sort of thing. Pretty much exactly not what the concept art showed in the digital book of the Silent Hill 2 remake game, which is funny because when people pointed out of, hey, why aren't women looking like women? Why don't you have them in the original clothes? Or why did you make Angela a fat pile of garbage? And then they go, well, in the original art concept, she was kind of chubby. It's like, oh, okay, then why didn't they follow apparently your idea of what a concept art is, of apparently it not being an idea that hasn't been fully formulated and determined that that's the final product, but yet, you know, a concept art is apparently supposed to be that way, according to these weirdos. So following the discovery, the game's creative director and lead designer, Matthias Lennart, took to X to reveal that Bloober Team thought the puzzle was too difficult. I am sorry, that does not sound too difficult. Now, I'm terrible with puzzles, but I feel I've heard this. We have seen plenty of examples of puzzles like this, where there's a message and then there's like a number. And it's like, oh, count, you know, if the letters, you know, if the number, you know, corresponds with like how many numbers like in the alphabet, then just do that. Like, this does not sound difficult. I'm sorry. And this is what happens with remakes. Puzzles that were annoying back in the day, like Silent Hill, like definitely with, or Resident Evil with like the piano. I think it was Silent Hill 2, there's a piano, or in Silent Hill 1. Dude, I'm terrible with music. I'm bad with puzzles. That was hard as hell. You know, but that's just me. But something to where it's like, here's a quote. In the picture, there's clearly a number of something there. And just being like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, I don't know. That just seems, the concept of it seems super simple. And I feel like I've seen this be done plenty of times, that it should have just been more obvious than ever. Then it's like, okay, just do this. Now, if you're talking about finding the photos, that's a different thing. I knew it wouldn't stay hidden for long. There was a theory in our company that the puzzle might be too hard. There was a theory? What does that mean? A theory. It's either it was too difficult or it's not. Like, theory makes me think like, it's like, maybe if like people, I don't know, like, why using the word theory to like be like it might be really hard to figure out, like, doesn't seem right. Like, you could have just said there was word going around in our company that the puzzle might be too hard. There you go. To say theory, I don't know. I really wanted to make it subtle when I was painting those photos. I think the timing could have been better for you to solve it. Congratulations. But yes, indeed. But there you go. I have my thoughts about Silent Hill 2 remake, such as people are unfortunately like giving it praise that it really does need any praise. You take away the Silent Hill 2 franchise and it's a mediocre retelling of a story. It's just because Silent Hill 2 has already been established. And the fact that I get more Resident Evil vibes from it than I do Silent Hill 2. And the fact of legit changing stuff that had no reason to be changed whatsoever from the original. Such as character design, if anything. Should have been, the women actually having female features. Getting rid of Pyramid Head's infamous scene. Stupid. Changing Eddie's final scene, you could say. Also dumb. Plus, the acting in it is doesn't help it. But it's getting all this reward, It's buzzing, that's for sure. I think it's buzzing for the wrong reasons. And if anything, it's kind of doing what Dragon Age is doing, where they're really trying to hype it up. Like, oh, Dragon Age is so amazing, even though it's such hot garbage. But, like, Baldur's Gate 3 kind of was, like, testing the waters in terms of that sort of thing. Because they did enough DEI changement that, people who played the original know. But I feel like I've talked to death about Silent Hill 2, the remake. New Star Wars Outlaws creative director shares details on the game's biggest update yet. The fourth title update promises improvements to combat, stealth, and character controls. Almost like that should have been your number one priority. Instead of giving your female character that butt chin. So Ubisoft has shared details about Star Wars Outlaws' next major patch, billed as the game's biggest update yet. That should not be something to be proud of, by the way. It will make improvements to combat, stealth, and character controls. Also something that should not be proud of, by the way. Should have been majorly prepped and ready to go with minor tweaks through updates here and there. That's according to Ubi's massive Drew Rechner, who has recently taken on the role of Star Wars Outlaws creative director, replacing Julian Garidi, who has switched his focus to The Division 3. Yeah, they slopped that shit out, saw that it failed, and they don't care. They moved on. This is coming from Video Game Chronicle, by the way, this article. The first key area of improvement to the game is combat, where we see a real opportunity to add more depth and excitement to the experience. Why didn't you do that in the beginning? Further rewarding your tactics and precision. Sneaking up and straight up punching a stormtrooper in the helmet should not be rewarded. The only reward you should get from that is to lift your hand and it's nothing but a bunch of, bone soup because you literally just cracked your. He said in the first of a series of planned developer updates. I wonder how many updates there are. Because at this point, now you're just polishing a turd, Our second key area is stealth, which is not only about improving the readability and consistency of enemy detection, but also providing choices in how you want to approach each encounter. My choice would be to just, get those headshots in from behind. Pew! Move on. Like, now's not a time. Finally, our third key area of focus is centered around the character controls, which means improving the reliability of cover, increasing the responsiveness of climbing and crouching, and generally improving the consistency of the controls overall. How about fixing that chin? How about actually making the character look like the model that you based her on? So Update 1.4 will arrive on November 21st alongside the game's Steam release and the launch of its first story DLC, Veilguard. So Ubisoft announced in September that it was working on a series of updates designed to get the game in better shape in time for the holiday season. I feel like this is just such garbage in general. I'm really tired of AAA companies in general because there's a bunch of garbage, DEI, and weeds and activists inside of it. But this concept of we'll just fix it in a DLC update, that desperation should be taken away from them at some point. I wish there was a way to make it to where you guys get 3 chances and then you can't update the game anymore because clearly you guys didn't care enough to get to the point where where it was ready to at least be shipped out and stuff like that. Instead you're just we're just trying to meet this quota. We'll fix it later out in the update. Go ahead. Or they're too busy focused on, again, diversity hires inside of the industry, activisms, all that stuff. That's what it's starting to become more and more about. It's also said its decision to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows from this November to February 2025 was influenced by the poor reception of Star Wars Outlaws, which wasn't as polished as it should have been and has underperformed commercially. Good. We will get to an article later talking about, what's his name? Cortez or whatever. Pretty much signing Ubisoft's death warrant in terms of doubling down on inclusivity and all that stuff because, we're modern. So that last article ties in with this Bounding the Comics article where after initial failure of Star Wars Outlaws, Ubisoft tags new creative director to oversee game's future. So as part of their previously promised mission of bringing the widely panned title into a decently playable state, Ubisoft has officially handed the reins of Star Wars Outlaws post-release development to a brand new creative director. And then this news regarding Star Wars' latest video game outing was first broken the public courtesy of a developer update published to the game's official website on November 4th. Therein, Ubisoft announced that not only was the game's previous creative director, Julian G. Righty, or Garighty. I really hope it's pronounced G. Righty. That would be amazing, because then you could be like, G. Righty, whiz. No longer in charge of overseeing Outlaws' future, but also that he had been replaced in a role by Massive Entertainment's Drew Reckner. Very excited to be stepping into the role of creative director on Star Wars Outlaws and to be working with the incredibly passionate team here at Massive Entertainment, along with our talented co-development studios around the world and Lucasfilm Games. I don't know. Judging on how terrible the release was, the words incredibly passionate team doesn't really convince me that you're really passionate about these games. I think you're more passionate about other things. More passionate about political crap. That if that was the case, you should just be let go and go be an activist. go do that instead and stay the hell out of gaming and movies in general. And stop trying to corrupt anime and manga, by the way. Stop doing everything. Just burn. Woke needs to burn. So he said in his own personal statement, I would like to personally thank you, our community, for your positive response to the game. There what? Delusion. We see and love all the fan arts, comments, and videos you've created around the game, and it continues to provide joy and inspiration to the team. We truly hope you're enjoying our journey across the Outer Rim with Kay and Nyx thus far. This face right here explains it all, that no one believes in that upper statement. Not at all. That is the look of, like, Arnold when Bennett's like, you're getting old, John. Bullshit. Bam. And then just unleashes the fury. From there, Rickner admitted that the game's dev team had been gathering information regarding its reputation, formally through our analytics, user tests, reviews, and media feedback, our Star Wars Outlaws bug reporter, crash reports, and other mechanisms, but also informally when we see your YouTube videos and Reddit and Discord or other social media posts, and as such had zeroed in on 3 key areas in which we're looking to improve the game even further. And again, we've already kind of read it from the previous article. The key areas were areas that should have just been good to begin with, because you were too busy doing this. So the first key area of improvement to the game is combat, where we see a real opportunity to add more depth and excitement to the experience, further rewarding your tactics and precision. Second key is stealth, which is not only about improving the readability and consistency of enemy detection, but also providing choice on how you want to approach each encounter. And then third, centered around character controls, which means improving the reliability of cover, responsiveness, climbing and crouching, generally improving the consistency of the controls overall. Again, all of that should have been done in the beginning. Why it wasn't done is foolish. And then drawing his forward look roadmap to a close, Rickner ultimately assured that we will provide more specific detail and changes to these areas in the upcoming weeks. All of this will accumulate in the release of Update 1.4, which is November 21st, alongside the Steam launch, and then your story pack wildcard. So as of writing, it's currently unknown as why to the aforementioned G. Righty is no longer serving as Outlaws creative director. Oh, I was kind of curious about that. Well, so he either got let go for whatever reason, or he didn't care, and he's like, well, game's been bastardized, see ya, homos, and just left. To this end, he departed to particularly curious, given how, as readers may remember, G. Righty previously and publicly voiced a very optimistic outlook regarding the game's future. A little disappointed with the Metacritics, where the game currently holds a 76 out of 100 critic score and 5.4 out of 10 user score. Should be lower than that, like a 4. Recognition from critics is very important to us. Well, I mean, people that agree with your ideology, let's be real here. If it doesn't do that, then you don't see them as critics. You don't even see it as commentary, I guess you could say. See it as hate by the chuds. But I do think players are really connecting with what we did. G. Righty told Games Radar's Josh West in the immediate wake of Outlaws launch, we had a very ambitious target. We literally reached for the stars. And I think we were successful from so many different angles. Aside from the 3 key things that are literally should be the basic fundamental aspects of any game. Oh my gosh. Again, these delusions. The self-awareness is like next to nothing. The bar isn't like so low, like I don't think James Cameron could raise it. There's a magical, unique experience within Outlaws, whether it's Star Wars or not. Oh, that's very telling right there. Whether it's Star Wars or not. So you honestly think if this didn't have the Star Wars franchise slapped on it that you think it would still be good? No. The reality is you were hoping that because it had Star Wars that it was going to be good. But it didn't. It sucked. This is why I said I'm tired of talking about it, or I felt like I've shared enough. This is why this mentality also pisses me off with the Silent Hill 2 remake. It's exactly for that reason, is because people who actually know the original Silent Hill 2 know that the remake really didn't hold up to what it could have been. And that all the stuff that people complained about, if that wasn't in there, then it would be fantastic. It would be even better than what it's already being received as. But because it's being received well, that now they have more ammo to where they can then go back and go, well, Silent Hill 2 did this and it did just fine. And it goes, well, that's exactly my point. If that was not in there, if you didn't fuck up the character design, if you didn't censor shit, if the acting was better, and if you didn't change or remove entirely certain parts of the game that made the game what it was, it would have been phenomenal. But no, you had to go and cater to either some retarded consultant agency that said, yeah, that's too feminine of a figure. We need to man her up a little bit because we don't know what the hell women are. We're retarded. Holy crap, he's still going. He's still confident. I think Outlaws has such long legs that this will be a game that millions of people are going to play for years and years. No, it's not. And we're never going to stop improving it, he added before laughing. Well, okay, that's a lie. We'll probably stop improving it eventually. But today, my mind is not on stopping. Your mind... Again, that mentality should have been put in way in the beginning. But apparently it wasn't because you released it. And it was a buggy mess. This just shows on how these people do not care. They do not care what's happening. Because to them, it's like, okay, it's just the same old. Game could have been better, but fuck it. We still released it, and now we just got to Band-Aid it. This Band-Aid mentality needs to stop being rewarded. Still working on it. Game director Matthias Carlson is still working on it, pushing a lot of improvements, not just on the base game. So one of the improvements, like making her better, but it's things that we're going to deliver later this year, the next with the downloadable episode, the heavily themed, pushed a certain aspect of the game that we have even further. There's so much more for us to do. He concluded, we've got such a great system. That's a great foundation. It's not as easy as it looks because everything is level design, and that's a lot of work, but that's so much we can do. Dude, do not give me the excuse that because the level design was so intrinsic that you couldn't make basic combat, stealth, and what was the other one? Nah, fuck it. Who cares? Like, dude, what is this obsession with making the environment really pretty? If your game does not look good nowadays, then you're doing something wrong. Like, graphics shouldn't even be a category anymore, If we want to go down the gaming awards vote, like, best graphics should not be in there anymore because it should just be expected. Now, there could be something to where did they successfully, capture the look of the motion capture actor or actress? Maybe, I guess, but they sure as hell don't care. Of course, given his almost delusional level belief that the base release of Outlaws had been successful and was built on a greater foundation, it's possibly Geraghty may have been fired for being too positive and thus found unable to properly guide the game in a better state. After all, that's what happened to Concord. It's noted above, updates coming out. Well, there you go. Frickin' Ubisoft. The delusion of Ubisoft. And we'll get to the main topic here shortly. So the Powell Group deletes its association with Sweet Baby Inc. from LinkedIn and its website. Hilarious. So it deleted its announcement association with Sweet Baby Inc. on both its LinkedIn account and on its website after it was discovered and publicized that the company had partnered with Sweet Baby Inc. I felt like I've read this already. But anyway, YouTuber master of the TD... When was this? No, this is literally an article from today. Coming from That Park Place, by the way. Good place. Master of the TDS, the host of the Gothic Therapy channel, discovered the partnership and shared in video. They're not just partnering with Sweet Baby Inc. They are going to help Sweet Baby Inc. reach a wider market and be able to appeal. This I remember. Yeah, he pointed out the fact that partnering with this company, it can mean that they can branch out to a wider market. More studios, gamers, more companies under a name that's more trusted in the industry. Because Sweet Baby Inc. is that kiss of death. So it posted that it was partnering with Sweet Baby Inc. on LinkedIn about a week ago. And then it states, we believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. No, number one, no, you don't. Number two, there were never diverse problems to begin with. Those were problems that you foresaw and thus said, you are just the people who do it. Which, ironically, 90% of the time are people who are literally what they project onto the people that are, you know, the white males and chuds and women and stuff like that, you know? It always seems to be the case. We're here for diversity. Look at the team of the consultants, all white dudes. Soy boys. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development. We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to bring your story to life. No, you connect with a bunch of you connect people to a bunch of activists who are delusional and who are just riding the coattails that all began when the BLM riots happened and the burning down of cities. Our approach leads with the creation of joyful and authentic experiences. We seek to be additive, not just corrective. You believe correcting the grave injustice that you perceive is the additive. That's, oh my gosh, these people are retarded. From there, details that this partnership allows developers reach a bigger audience, tell new stories, and represents empathetically. Well, this is the thing. This bigger audience is really non-existent because to them, that's the, quote, modern audience. That's the soy boys, the activists, and the tourists who ultimately never cared about the franchise to begin with. And anybody who gets into it now and are people who promote this sort of stuff only played games that were also bastardized in some way, shape, or form. All these people should be forced to play Call of Duty and experience the lobbies like from way back in the day. And if you can't handle the thickness, like if you can't develop thick skin, you're not, you're get out. Man, that should be it. Kind of like, one of the, your frat boy rituals or something like that. Your frat house rituals. It's like, all right, we found a Call of Duty lobby from back in the day. All you got to do is just play the game. But you got to keep that mic, that lobby unmuted, and you might even have to participate in some trash talking. If you can't do it, GTFO. It declares, we believe that representation is key to connecting to players and audiences. I mean, yeah, I believe that people can connect to the players and audience with a diverse group of people. Absolutely. See, again, what these people are talking about is it's not their version of representation. Because all of this existed long ago. This great fear, this great shadowy figure that they've concocted has been dead for a while, And because they don't have any self-worth and they don't have anything going for in their life that they can be satisfied with, they have to create and invent something so that they can then get the clout of saying, oh, I'm here to fix it. We tackle narratives and characters in any form, keeping emotional resonance and authenticity at the heart of our work. We seek to spark joy in marginalized players. Well, there's red flag number one. Elevate real human experience and foster empathy within your game. So pretty much this picture here. And then Master of the TDS pointed out the company sensitivity consultant page featured a number of colored blocks in front of the Sweet Baby Inc.'s logo and reiterated what the company is now providing. We believe you need diverse voices to solve diverse problems. Together with our partners at Sweet Baby Inc., we provide sensitivity and authenticity consulting at every stage of development. We connect you to an inclusive and knowledgeable team of consultants to bring your story life together. And this is where the ultimate big delusion of this whole thing is that Kim Belair did a presentation by trying to convince you that, no, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. And it's literally right there stating that this is their goal to do it. It's so mind-boggling on how disingenuous these pieces of shits are. Gosh. Bunch of activist scum. So, YouTuber Vera Dark noticed the Powell Group began scrubbing its website of its partnership with Sweet Baby Inc. on November 3rd, that is yesterday. And then with the screenshot, there you go. The Powell Group has removed their Sweet Baby Inc. partnership announcement. Got that game over. Uh-oh. Oh, no. And then Master of the TES also shared on X that the company deleted its LinkedIn post announcing the partnership. He stated, the Powell Group has not only deleted their page announcing their collaboration with Sweet Baby Inc., but they have deleted all their posts on its LinkedIn as well. That kiss of death. Mwah. And then the Bio Squirrel. Oh, rest in peace, Peanut. I know it's not necessarily Peanut, but I saw a squirrel, and I was just like, rest in peace, Peanut. That's also scummy, too. And all those people need to... they'll get their upcomings when the Lord pours his wrath out on the world. I noted that the company even removed Sweet Baby Inc. from the service providers page. BioScore, they removed the logo from the consultant page. I was seeing it happen as it happened. They're cooked. Sadly for them, I screenshotted it before and after. Dang, son. There you go. It's unclear if the company is deleting their association with Sweet Baby Inc. because it's severed ties or it's attempting to hide the relationship with the company. I'm going to probably say trying to hide their relationship. And in a video discussing the topic, Vera Dark opined that she believes they are attempting to hide their relationship. Hey, look at that. And no, I did not read ahead. I saw that and I just said, probably trying to hide it. She said, one would assume they are. They're just trying to keep it on the down low. I bet that Sweet Baby Inc.'s partnership is still going to happen, or it is still happening as of this point in time. And then the question that a lot of these articles say, what do you guys think? What do you guys think of what the Powell Group's doing? Why are they deleting all this stuff? I think they realized that they stepped in a big pile of garbage, and are at least trying to say, okay, look, we'll still try to make it work out, but we gotta do some sweeping. But the damage has been done. The kiss of death has been already planted upon your neck. Now all that's left is that poison to seep into your skin and in your blood, and then you die. All right, so check this out. So, Dragon Age. Okay, Dragon Age. From that Park Place. Supposedly, it's been reported, Dragon Age the Veilguard will not have any DLC or expansion as BioWare shifts focus to Mass Effect 5. Look at how much they do not care about what they do with franchises. They bastardize Dragon Age. It gets, no matter how much they try to positive bomb the reviews and stuff, it's garbage. And then they just move on to the next thing. Honestly, I feel like we need to expect more of this to coming. Expect any sort of franchise that you really love. When you find out that there's some sort of remake or some sort of continuation of it, expect it to purposely be made bad so that it can flop and then they can move on to the next one until these weeds are removed. Because it's... I mean, we keep saying it, but let's be real here. Like, now they're shifting over to Mass Effect 5. I still need to play the Mass Effect series, by the way. New report details that BioWare will not be developing any DLC or expansions for Dragon Age: The Veilguard, but instead will turn their entire focus to Mass Effect 3. And that's why I said that just now, too. The fact that they're not doing any DLC or any expansion, but it pretty much sounds like they're done with it, they don't care. They don't care what they did to it. George Yang at the Rolling Stones reported on Halloween, with Dragon Age: The Veilguard now complete, BioWare confirms that there are currently no plans for downloadable expansions. Look at that. He added the developers' full attention has now shifted entirely to the next Mass Effect as their current project. Subsequent report from Kate Bailey at IGN did detail that, speaking of IGN, do you guys see that garbage rating they gave of Mario and Luigi Brothership? Like 5 out of 10? Like, go fist yourself, IGN. Detailed that BioWare is not completely abandoning Dragon Age: The Veilguard following its release, but will support the game with quality of life improvements and handful of smaller content updates. Yeah, the basic crap. Given the game will not have any DLC, it calls into questions EA CEO Andrew Wilson's bravado surrounding the game during a recent earnings call. Wilson touted that the game had breakout potential, told investors, "It's an amazing time at EA, and in 2 days we will launch Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It's been 10 years since we launched its predecessor, Game of the Year winner, Dragon Age Inquisition." Here's the big question. Was this guy even a part? Like, was he even there 10 years ago? He continued, "Early critic scores are strong and reflect the high quality, depth, and detail in niche action-packed adventures. We expect Dragon Age to be a great example of how our blockbuster storytelling will engage and connect fans in truly unique ways." No, because you catered to a specific fringed, crazed group. And then when people called you out on it and started showing leaks about it, and you guys desperately tried to swipe it in, then you started review bombing everything, like positive review bombing. The critics will always give, the woke ideology the top scores, but then the real players will give it the negative scores because they see the bullshit. I said it in a past stream too. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 was testing out the waters. Baldur's Gate 3 was a big enough game to where a lot of DEI stuff they could insert in there and get away with, but you could still kind of maneuver around it and stuff. This game, it's like they saw what Baldur's Gate 3 was testing, and then they just decide, you know what, fuck it, we're going all in hard. So now the difference between this and like Concord and Dustboard is that this was an established franchise, and then it's very possible they picked Dragon Age just to see how the backlash would be or something like that, And then when it failed, they move on to the next stuff. All right, so Wilson was asked by the Raymond James Financial Group analyst Andrew Merrock, "I've seen some very strong reviews so far, but as far as you can tell, what drives that kind of breakout success we've seen in some single-player fantasy games in the last couple of years?" Oh, what drives that kind of breakout? I was like, what the hell? How's that a question? "How do you feel that Veilguard might compare along those lines?" He responded, "I certainly think Veilguard has breakout potential. Again, 10 years ago, Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year and was a very strong performer for us in the conduct of our business. But why did it win Game of the Year? This is entertainment, and so while much of our business has moved to live service, moment to moment, deliver innovation and creativity for a deeply engaged community over the course of time, this opportunity to bring in incredibly high quality creative storytelling, the storytelling of this game is garbage, set in an amazing world with rich characters, retarded characters, leaving out those stories where you're able to capture that moment in entertainment. Success almost certainly follows." Explain, and we see that in the context of movies. We're seeing in the context of TV shows, context of video games. When we think about what we have with Veilguard right now, we have a stored studio in BioWare. We have a stored IP in Dragon Age. We have a team that took extra time to make sure the world was rich with the characters were interesting and the stories were compelling. No, no, you guys didn't. Not even close. I think we're going into a market that has a limited competition for this category of game, given some of the moves that have been happening across the broader industry. So while I think it's too early to predict the outcome, Critical reviews have been incredibly strong. The team feels really energized by what they have delivered. And my sense is that, yes, it has breakout capability, he reiterated. So while he claimed that it had breakout capabilities, Stuart Canfield, EA's chief financial officer, shared that the company was maintaining our assumptions for our upcoming Dragon Age the Veilguard launch this week and our partner title slated to launch in Q4. Expect a net booking of $2.4 billion to $2.55 billion, up 1 to up 8% year over year, blah, 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 blah. One would think that if Wilson was as confident about the game's breakout potential as he claims, he would be investing in DLC that players would want to purchase from the game. However, it seems the opposite is the case. Rather than putting more development cash in the game, they're just cutting loose and moving on to Mass Effect 5. Yep, that's why I think they do not care what the response was. They did what they did, knew that people didn't like it, and they do not care. And the reason is why. It's because people inside the industry want to destroy things that are established because there's some great social injustice that needs to be corrected. That is the reason why. And yet, the Golden Joystick Awards are trying to convince me that the Dragon Age, the Veilguard, should be nominated and should get that Ultimate Game of the Year award. Oh, no. This year has been insane for gaming. A lot of controversies were started due to like Concord, Shadows, Dragon Age. The latter one was just recently received, and it's had a positive reception from critics and fans. I don't believe that for a second, Tech for Gamer. BioWare back on track. That's all right, though. So while it recently got review bombed by Metacritic, see, every time, it got review bombed by Metacritics. No, those are like real people that actually care. The Steam reviews are quite positive. I believe I read somewhere that I think with Steam you can also spam like awards or something. There's like an award feature. Goes to show how much I really use Steam. But Steam reviews need to be wary of. Because they were pointing out there can be other things that can be attributed and it can look like a review, but it's not. Still, many OG fans of the series have shown their concerns over the woke content, some other elements of the game. Despite facing a lot of controversy and hate, Veilguard has been nominated for the Ultimate Game of the Year. Of course! Because, again, it is the next Last of Us Part 2 Golden Calf. It was Last of Us Part 2. They kept trying to keep it alive, but it just lost its flame and it died out, and no one cared about it. So then they tried with Concord. Then they tried with Dustborn. Now they're trying again with an already established franchise. Might be surprising to see the latest installment in the Dragon Age series being nominated for such an award, but it might also happen at the Game Awards. Well, dude, no one cares about these awards, by the way, because it's all rigged and it's all bullshit anyway, because it's not done by actual gamers. As you can see in the image above, the controversial title is among the nominees. Many great titles such as Black Myth Wukong beat the crap out of it of peak performance, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Silent Hill 2, and Metaphor Refantazio, also nominated in the same game. I don't know why, for some reason, I feel like I was mispronouncing that. The only one that should probably deserve that is Black Myth Wukong, because that got bashed so hard for the wrong reasons from a hit piece that has been disproven, and yet it still beat everybody. So the competition is going to be fierce. I wouldn't mind playing Black Myth Wukong, but isn't that like a soul game? And I feel like I don't know. I am not in the mood to play a Soul game at the moment or anytime soon. Given on how big a franchise Dragon Age is and its influence in the gaming industry, the nomination doesn't come as a surprise. However, the game is under a lot of heat, and a former Sweet Baby employee had to reveal that the company didn't work on this title. Some fans might not like this nomination, but others who have enjoyed it must be delighted. Nonetheless, we hope the most deserving among all these nominations takes home the most prestigious awards at the Golden Joystick Awards. And then what do you think about Dragon Age being nominated? Do you think it deserves to be called a Ultimate Game of the Year contender? No, because being a game that just shoves woke ideology down your throat should never ever be rewarded with anything. I've seen people play it. People have already commented on the trailers and stuff like that. Like, people didn't want this. And one of the main writers, like, straight up said, like, oh yeah, this game was always queer inherited or whatever. You know, the stupid retarded shit they always do, where they rewrite their headcanon somehow gets projected on to the story, and so they rewrite history by saying, oh, it's always been like this. You see it everywhere. They're trying to do it with anime, to where anime with the LGBTQ the LGBTQ subgenre of anime, being one of its many subgenres of anime, but trying to say, oh, that's always been the heart and soul of anime, because even though it's not, because came from, a lot of it stemmed from World War II. A lot of it stems from people being outcast and stuff. And that's because, well, I'm an outcast because I'm gay. So therefore, LGBTQ is like the heart and soul. The stupid headcanons and rewriting of history that they pull all the time. All the time. It happened with Dragon Age. Sure, it's going to happen to other games down the road until we get to kick these guys out. And kind of the main one that caught my eye, again, involves Assassin's Creed Shadow, where, I've said his name before, Cortez or whatever his name is. I don't think that Cortez or something like that. We'll see it here in a second. So pretty much signing the death warrant for Ubisoft and rejecting Assassin's Creed Shadow. Backlash, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives, not driven by modern agendas. Yes, it is. At this point, I hope Ubisoft crashes and burns and gets files for bankrupt, gets shut down, everyone loses their job. Sorry. After hearing this, it has to happen. And hopefully that will create a ripple effect that will spread out to other studios and I pretty much said this already on X. I made a post about it. Actually, I think on this, the link to this article here. A major studio needs to fail and fail miserably to where a ripple wave gets spread out and hopefully encourages, pretty much becomes a wake-up call to other studios to pull their head out of their asses and stop focusing on this stupid shit and just make good games. This diversity, this inclusion can come naturally. It has come naturally, and it did come naturally back in the day. So this force bullshit needs to stop, and it needs to go away and die and rot forever in Satan's asshole, because their version of inclusivity and authenticity and diverse perspectives is just one big giant circle jerk to these people, because we're such good people. We're this, we're that. Kota. There we go. So in the opinion of Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed franchise head, Mark Alexis Kota, not only is the accusation that the upcoming Shadows is built on modern agendas, it is, according to Endymion sources, the George Floyd. This Yasuke was based on the whole George Floyd fleeing and the Black Lives Matter. Completely unfounded, but those who claim so are nothing more than bad actors who are trying to incite hatred. You, my friend, hate Japanese people, apparently, because you're totally fine with the black guy going around slicing up Japanese people. The vice president, executive producer of the overall action adventure series, offered his latest thoughts on the discourse surrounding stealth action series Next entirely while speaking to attendees of a November 2nd video game industry event gathering. It's held in London and organized by the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. Per a recap of his speech provided by Eurogamer editor-in-chief Tom Phillips, whose organization and presumably himself was in attendance at the event, the Assassin's Creed boss began by admitting that while no one on the dev team had predicted any discussion around representation and inclusivity in media to pop up around Shadows, because you thought you could get away with it. That's the thing. That's the lie, is that you thought you could get away with it and no one would notice and no one would say anything about it, but you were dead wrong. And that these, quote, conversations can influence how our games are perceived. He felt rather than shy away from these conversations, we should see them as an opportunity. Aren't you the one? Isn't this the same guy who said, once you buy the game and then you play 15 minutes of it, then you might have an opportunity to come talk to me about it? They pretty much want your money first, even though a lot of people said, yeah, we saw the trailer, it's garbage. Disrespectful to Japanese people. You claim it's historical, yet the only history about Yasuke is not at all what you're showing. It's been said many times already. So Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history. And by its very nature, that history is diverse. And yet you chose a black guy to be the main character, one of the main characters. Set in feudal Japan, you chose an abnormality to be the main person, to represent the history of that time. And hiding behind, well, it's from an outsider's perspective. Even though none of the other Assassin's Creed games did that whatsoever. He continues, staying true to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives without compromise. For example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, notice how he's not giving note. If you're saying Assassin's Creed has always been like this, why aren't you naming guys from the other games? Why aren't you naming characters from the other games? Shouldn't those be prime examples of how you did this correctly? No, it's every fucking time it's Shadows. Got to point to Shadows here. Now, you could say, no, they're just trying to promote the game. No, if you're... It's like what was it back in the day when it's like, if you look up a word and the definition of the word is using the word to explain the definition, like it's then, if something's wrong. I don't know if there's like an actual phrase for that, but this is kind of the same thing. Again, it's like when news articles, like when it was like, when they write an article about, oh yeah, we found out this sexist, this hit piece, these guys are sexist, we have the proof and stuff. And then when you go look at the sources, it's just another one of their articles that they just said, yep, it's true. And then you look at that one and realize it's like, you guys didn't do anything. You guys didn't prove anything. This is the same crap. So, for example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures, both fictional, like Naoe, Japanese woman warrior. She's a ninja. And historical, like Yasuke, the African-born samurai. Yeah, who you can't... He's not a samurai, number one. Number two, all the actual historical information you have of him doesn't paint him exactly in the most uplifting light, nor does it have really any story whatsoever. And the only thing that you decided to base off all of your information you got from is from Thomas Lockley, who, I don't know, I guess he wanted to suck off Yasuke or something because he made up all this bullshit about him. While the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, Naoe as a fictional character has also faced scrutiny for her gender. Wow. On the subject of Sato's controversial protagonist, Kode then argued, but just as Yasuke's presence in Japanese history is in fact, yes, there was a guy that was black that was there around that time. Does he represent the Japanese culture at that time? No, he doesn't. So too are the stories of women who defied societal expectations and took up arms in times of conflict. Really, is that why you made up a character? How about you go and find an actual historical figure that you just literally said, oh, yeah, there's a bunch of women who do that. Well, why couldn't you find one for Shadows? You had to make one up. You made one up, and then you found a character that had very little historical information. That's all you did. So while both Naoe and Yasuke stories are works of historical fiction, oh, you just defeated your own argument by saying Yasuke's a historical, person, and then just say, well, it's historical fiction. Okay, well then why even include him? They reflect the collision of different worlds, cultures, and roles. It's mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. And people have already made jokes about it before. So if we made a game that took place in Africa, you're cool with using some European dude to represent the heart of Africa, I guess you could say. You're cool with that. You know damn well they would be pissed off if someone ever did that. You know damn well. And their inclusion is precisely the kind of narrative that Assassin's Creed seeks to tell. Except you've never done this in the past. That's the other thing. Earlier on, you talk about how Assassin's Creed is so diverse and so XYZ and stuff, but you only point to Shadows as the example of showcasing that. One that reflects the complexity and the interconnectedness of our shared history, said the Ubisoft executive, and this isn't new ground for the franchise. From Altair Assassin's Creed, based on people of the norm of that time, to Evelyn de Grand Depre, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation. I think I stopped after Assassin's Creed 3. I had my share. Tirana Hakatan. Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3. We've consistently introduced protagonists from diverse racial, ethnic, and gender identities, he asserted, citing the franchise past. History is inherently diverse, and so is Assassin's Creed. Again, all of those characters you literally named would have been around that time. This is the one where you're saying we want to tell a story from a different person's perspective. You are literally trying to tell us that an outsider's perspective will be the best accurate representation of that culture, as opposed to someone who lived in there growing up and is of the norm. To be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity. Dude, oh my gosh. I cannot. Never mind. I shouldn't be surprised at this point, but it's just so fucking stupid. And respect for diverse perspectives. Not driven by modern agendas. Oh my gosh. So dumb. Continuing his defense of Shadow's direction, Kote then noted how, alongside these deep-rooted franchise values and our commitment to recognize and listen to legitimate criticism as an essential part of the creative process, you didn't. You saw a black guy get killed. You saw the BLM riots and protests. You saw the Me Too and said, you know what, I'm going to get on that money. And then you said, oh yeah, that monk guy we have in progress, fuck him. Get rid of him. People will like playing as a George Floyd character. Our community helps us grow, evolve, and deliver better games, he said. Today we all, however, face the added challenge of distinguishing between genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. You should be fired from your position then. Because really the only people that I see who are the real racist, who are the real intolerant people, are people like you. Because you refuse to listen to legitimate criticism. You claim that you do, but then you just... We know what your definition of a genuine feedback and attacks driven by intolerance. We know your definition. We've seen it. You have defined it time and time again. It's anyone who doesn't believe in your bullshit. Current climate is tough on our creative team. Further detailed, they face lies, half-truths, and personal attacks online. When they work, they pour their heart and soul, their hearts into... When the work they pour their hearts into is twisted into a symbol of division. It's not just disheartening, it can be devastating. Newsflash, their hearts were twisted to begin with. It didn't become twisted. They were twisted to begin with. And the only hearts that have been twisted are the people who probably legitimately wanted to just make a good game. And it was from assholes like you that corrupted them. What keeps me going is the resilience born out of conviction that I see in our teams every day. I'm especially proud of Shadow's team for staying true to their creative visions and their core tenets of Assassin's Creed. Oh, you're so proud of them? Is that why you pushed the damn game back? Is that why you're fixing stuff? Yeah, so proud. So turning to the team's decision to feature both Yasuke and Naoe as the game's dual protagonists, the Ubisoft exec explained that by choosing them as the player's avatar, we are expanding the narrative landscape, offering new points of view that challenge established norms found in many works of fiction, while staying true to the history that shaped them. At the end of the day, Assassin's Creed is not just a franchise, it's a platform for entertainment, dialogue, discovery, and understanding. Our commitment isn't just about reflecting on the past, it's about ensuring that the stories we tell continue to unite, inspire, and challenge players, regardless of their background. No, your commitment is to rectify the past that you find needs to be fixed in some way, shape, or form, and are embarrassed at the fact that, and think that people are retarded enough, to be unable to see that just because you cover, like, you do something that was, like, you know, questionable at the time, that you condone it in some way. It's like the stupid, retarded warning that they're apparently putting on the new Indiana Jones game. It's like, oh, yeah, there's Nazis in the game, but we just want to let you know that we don't, you know, condone any of that stuff. You know, X, Y. It's like, dude, the only people who are retarded enough to believe that are usually them who are saying that they need a warning, and these weirdos. Ugh. This is how disconnected they are. They're so disconnected that it's like, you know, they're projecting their disconnection onto other people. And they're like, well, we need to save you from yourself. It's like, nah, I'm quite fine, thank you. You, however, you need a GTFO. Where were we? Inspire and challenge players regardless of their background, and will continue to stand by these values because they are central to the heart of the franchise, and I believe to the future of storytelling itself. Ultimately, we believe that the diversity and richness of the human experience is what helps Assassin's Creed resonate with players across the globe, and we're committed to standing firm on that foundation. No, the reason why players resonated with Assassin's Creed all across the globe is that you got to go around and be an assassin. Let's be fucking real here. It wasn't because someone woke up and went, oh my goodness, I have a chance to play as a black person now because now I can see what it's like through their point of view. Which the main people, interestingly enough, are all white. Like, how many black writers were on this, I wonder? You're talking about being able to experience a culture by using some outsider's point of view. Like, I wonder, like, why even have, like, Why even have any white people on this team? Just have a whole group of black people if this is how you want to go with it. You know, you're trying to take it to this extreme. Like, stop being a pussy and just take it extreme. The irony of it is that these people think they're extreme, but they're really not. Because if they were put under any sort of pressure from the opposition, their spirit would shatter into a million pieces, and they would probably be forever contained in the fetal position in a padded room. From the very beginning, Ubisoft has embraced this diversity. Assassin's Creed is more than just a game. Oh my gosh. It's literally repeating the same thing over and over and over. Assassin's Creed is very diverse. It's diverse because it reaches to people all across the globe. Did I mention that it's diverse, by the way? Did I mention that it's, diverse because we're, like, infusing creativity and diversion and all that shit so that they connect across the globe? Proceeding to wind down his thoughts, Coda zoomed out from his specific reflection on Assassin's Creed Shadows to discover how, in his opinion, the reaction to the game's existence were a reflection of an increasingly isolationist and xenophobic mindset currently sweeping through contemporary society. The only way you get to that logic is that you view life through that way, which means that you are indeed the most racist and xenophobic and whatever ism you want to throw in there on the fucking planet, because it is that sort of thing in its purest, rawest form, down to DNA level. These people want to bring out like microaggression and all that stuff. I bring out cellular aggression. It's in these people's very beings that they are racist and bigoted and stuff, and they just project that onto other people because they're ashamed when you don't even have to think like that at all. Today, the stakes are higher, he told the crowd. The stories we tell, the characters we create, and the game worlds we build are instrumentalized by those who seek to silence creativity, to stoke fear, and incite hatred. Nope, the fact that you think all of that is taking place in the video game industry means you are an outsider and you need to be removed from the gaming industry, or you're catering to whoever your higher up is in terms or whatever. I don't know. What is he, the CE? He's just the executive, I guess. I don't know. I read so many different people's names, I forget, like who owns Ubisoft, I guess. Is it this guy? Or, no, it's Gilmont or whatever. Whatever. Believe we are facing what author Fareed Zakaria calls an age of revolution, a time when the real conflict is not between the left and the right, but between societies that close themselves off and those that open themselves up to the world. Dude, oh my gosh, the projection. Throughout history, it's the open societies that have always eventually prevailed. Really? I don't know. Japan's pretty closed off still. While there were many setbacks over the years or even decades, it is openness that has continually pushed humanity forward. These echoes the selfless bravery of our Assassin's Creed protagonist. He then declares the fight for freedom, blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh. It's almost over. It's, again, now we're just... See, this is where, like, this then just... It's like, I don't care what you have to say, because you keep saying the same damn thing over and over and over again. It's not going to mean anything. You know? It's mindless blabble. Now, you could say I say the same thing over and over. Because it does feel like I am, but, you know. I guess one could ask, has it come down to that at that point? Which side is right? Which side is wrong? By just repeating the same things over and over and over. Fight for freedom. The same is true, I think, of our creative freedom for when we allow fear to stifle our voices, when we self-censor in the face of threat. The only people who are censoring is you guys. We hand over our power piece by piece until freedom and creativity both wither away. Ooh, no, wither. We cannot let that happen, he rallied. It's time for us as creators to stand firm in our commitment to our values by telling stories that inspire, that challenge, and that help people connect. Our silence cannot be complicit. To our players, I don't want to hear what you have to say to the players. You are the heart of our journey. We create for you. No, you don't. You do not create for me. No, you don't. Not even for a second. You guys create for yourself. You literally just emit all up here. You create, you know what I'm saying. They create for themselves. Because they're the ones saying, no, yeah, we need to do this. We need to show that we're diverse. We need to show that this is this, and this. Oh, yeah, we created this for you. Journey is yours as much as it is ours, and I thank you for being with us every step of the way. I'm an optimist and a dreamer. Believe that the answer to hate is to continue create experiences that celebrate the richness of our world and capture the magic of our collective imagination. Because in the end, creativity is stronger than fear, and together we are creating the future of the entertainment. I agree with all that, but not your definition of what you think it is. I was just looking at the comment. My gosh, that was a lot of nonsense. Even to the point where I was starting to get tired at the end there. Sorry you guys had to go through it. Ugh. My throat was getting dry there too. Well, let's end on something that's actually like... Let's take a look at games that actually were awesome, that didn't force diversity and all this stuff on you, because it just happened naturally. Let's take a gander. Let's see. We've got Ratchet and Clank before, I guess before What's-Her-Face was established as gay or something. Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. There you go. Medal of Honor, Pacific Assault. Naruto, Ultimate Ninja Storm, Resistance 2. More Valkyrie Chronicles. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I heard that one's good. But the Minish Cap, look at that. Look at that. Now that's a game. That's a game. Moby Gaming has even more. Let's check that out. Let's check what they... Moby Gaming, show me what real games are in your list. What do we got? Spyro Enter the Dragonfly, the PlayStation 2 version. Make sure we're... Look at that. The Lion King. United Kingdom. Still. Lion King. Great game. Great movie, too. The animated version, not the garbage remake. Again, Minish Cap, too good. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 in Italy. There you go, Italy. Dead to Rights 2, Xbox version in France. I liked the Dead to Rights series. Dude, Gunstar Superheroes. Finland, Sweden, United Kingdom. Resident Evil 4, United Kingdom. Oh, Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. Not as good as Budokai 3, but I haven't. Didn't sold too well, unfortunately, because Burst Limit was out around that time. But I remember getting that in college. Again, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm. Ninja? Oh my gosh, my throat's dying. I should have warmed up. I should have chugged a lot of water, too. Ugh. I don't know how good Quantum of Solace was. It keeps showing up, but... Anyway. What other games? Any other games that stand out? We had a good solid handful of games there. Especially the Minish Cap. I need to continue my Legend of Zelda playthrough of all the games here. I forget which one I'm on. I think I need to play, what is it, Twilight Princess? I think I need to play that one. Infinity Wars in Finland. I always enjoy scrolling through this to like see all these solid games, and then once you start hitting around like 2016 downward, it just goes to show how games have changed and not for the better. It's sad, really. But I think we're slowly bringing it back. Wait, what? Popeye for the Nintendo Switch? Nice. You know what game I want to play that I want to stream? Is the Super Famicom Popeye. I wish that got released in the United States. There's a fan translation out there, which I like. But man, I love Popeye. And if that game would have came out back in the day, I would have been so happy. But there you go. So, those are games, Ubisoft. Those are actual games that are good. That can be diverse. All of those games, I guarantee you, were diverse. It just wasn't the diversity that you guys preached that needs to happen. Well, that is all I have for you today. Tomorrow we'll continue game streaming. We started up Bayonetta for the first time, so I'll be playing that. Or we'll be doing... actually, no. No. I might actually be on another show, or I might just be off because tomorrow is election. And, you know, it's one of those things where it's like a Band-Aid. You just got to get it over with, rip it off, and got to see what happens to the United States. I'm pretty hopeful that Trump will succeed. But, yeah, hopefully the good Lord will, I don't want to say allow it because he knows everything, you know. But if we get Kamala, definitely being judged, won't be good in terms of like a nation. But so I may not actually be online tonight in terms of gaming, but I will be online watching maybe on someone else's show. I'll let you know. But yes, if you guys enjoyed it, if you enjoyed that insane rambling that I did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We were on YouTube, Rumble, and X, but Wednesday we will have a guest. I'll make an announcement of that guest, just making sure that we are set up and ready to go, and that if something comes up, we can always reschedule. But you can also find my other social media in the description below. And if you want to help out the channel by going beyond just pushing the algorithms, you can always check out the membership and subscription tiers over on YouTube and Rumble. I also have a locals as well, so you can check out there. Nothing major between the tiers, just a set amount of whatever. But humbled and blessed you guys took the time to listen to the little old me as my voice cracks and slowly dies. But that is all I have for you tonight. Glad we ended on a strong note. So I feel like, did I close out my tab already? I think I did. I think I closed out. For some reason, I thought I had another article, but whatever. Too late now. I actually need to dip off. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. Till then, take care. God bless. And then see you soon. Peace.